How to Sell Anything ebook preview. First edition. Audio edition. Copyright 2013 Ryan David Dwyer www.sellingsolveseverything.com. All rights reserved. ISBN 978-1-304-3177-1. Mission. We impart to individuals the consciousness of the 5 inevitable tests that all successful sales personnel overcome, thereby empowering each one to approach every prospect interaction with assurance, articulation, ethics, relevance, and bravery. Chapter 1 Author Credibility. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ryan David Dwyer. You are reading this because you probably want to make money selling a product or service. Am I right? I really don't have to be psychic to guess your true motives. There is a chance you will be on the phone or shaking hands with someone this morning, afternoon, tonight, or tomorrow, who'll offer you the opportunity to make a sale from them. Why should you waste precious time? You have to read the short book. The answer is that as you continue to read the whole book, I am going to show you the 5 tests that every successful person passes in order to cause someone else to buy a product or service from them. These are self-evident, and your acknowledgement of the truth will set you free from being a slave to selling techniques that rob your soul of dignity and happiness. My credibility is infused in the simple wisdom conveyed in this writing, combined with real-life experience examples. My official selling for money career began in the year 2001 when I moved to El Paso, Texas to work for the Santa Fe Railroad. It's not what you think. I wasn't going to be selling train parts. Anyhow, I moved all the way from Oregon just to work for the railroad because someone told me a train engine captain friend of theirs made over $2,000 grand a month. My last job was working as a gymnastics coach, and most coaches don't make anything near that amount. Teaching the sport came fairly naturally for me as a result of being a national competitive gymnast and being trained to coach at the age of 13. However, I knew there was more to my life than the sport I always loved, and my move to El Paso was mostly to give me time to think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. But did I really want to work on the railroad? Not at all. So I kept an open mind. It's actually not that easy to get a job on the railroad. They put you at the bottom of a seniority list. And even though my roommate was the one who got me in, I remained at the bottom for a full month and a half. It became time to search for a job. As it turned out, there was a piano store about a 5-minute walk from my residence. Since I learned to write my own music during my teen years, born in 1980, the possibility of working at a piano store seemed like a natural fit. After checking out the stores furthest from where I lived first, I journeyed to the one called Piano City, the largest store in town and owned by a company that had a chain of 10 stores. When I walked in, my soul was astounded at the beautiful showroom, and I couldn't resist going up to one of the high-polished ebony grand pianos to play some improvisation. My fingers moved the keys in a fresh new way. Despite not playing for 9 months, the manager turned around the corner thinking I was an old college friend. I got lucky somehow after I let him know that I lived very close and could show up often. He told me that they couldn't pay me by the hour but would make sure I had lunch every day. This all sounded like an excellent deal as well as an exciting adventure. 2 weeks later I sold my first piano. The last time I sold anything was for a fundraiser, when I was probably 12 or 13. I sold candy bars by knocking on people's doors and doing handstands and back flips. During that 2-week period I was taught a whole bunch of things. Personality types. Which personalities to identify right away so that you can adapt and respond accordingly. Role play. Practicing pretend customer objection scenarios. The 180-degree pass-by. An icebreaker to lead into actual selling. Time frame. Never letting a pitch go beyond 15 minutes. Suffice it to say, from the standpoint of the store owners, my manager was actually not very good at selling. He was the worst in the chain. Nevertheless, Piano City was open for 2 years before I came along, and he was meeting the quota well enough to sustain the store. We had a company goal set by corporate office to reach $50,000 in retail sales per month. During the whole time I was there 2 years I noticed a fluctuation, on average, between $30,000 and $80,000. For piano stores this is very low. Nevertheless, I did have the satisfaction of selling both acoustic and grand pianos for them during 2001 to 2004. The first piano I sold is called a Baldwin 665 Oak. It sold for well over $2,000, and at 6% commission I gained over $100 for about 30 minutes of work. So now you know that I speak from experience when it comes to selling. My information is from a book others wrote. Regurgitating info the author read from other people's books. As you read onward, I am going to cover what I was taught during my 2-week training period as mentioned in the bullet points above. I am also going to add additional information related to those points that I learned 3 to 4 years later, which led to many more successful sales. Personality types. I am not going to be politically correct when I mention type A, B, and C. In this booklet, type A refers to a leader, type B to gray, and type C to follower. When selling, keep in mind that there will be those that tell you what they'll do A, those whom you have a lot of difficulty reading B, and those who are clueless C. I am not making fun of anyone when mentioning C, the follower. They simply don't know what they want. Type C is your best person to sell to because they really do want to be told what to buy and when to buy it, whether they admit it or not. Type B is the individual who is testing you. They probably have already been to other piano stores or intend on going to other ones. They want to find out what makes you different. Type A already knows what they want. If you run into one of those, you can tell because they'll start talking about your product with more knowledge than you have about it. This can be a good sign. It can also be a bad sign if they mention another brand and fill you in on why that one is much better than yours. Chances are they have already decided to buy that other product and are choosing to waste your time in order to justify to themselves why the decision they are about to make is such a wise one. Type A often likes to make themselves feel superior by pointing out the flaws in someone or something else. This is quite a generalization. Of course, if they keep on talking about your product or service in a very positive light, just let them keep talking until they indicate it is your turn to talk. They will reward you for listening by giving you the opportunity to convince them to buy. I have a specific example of a Type C follower. Story. A Roland HP digital upright was on clearance. A family came in and the father and son mostly engaged me. By the way, this technique is my most successful one, and because the majority of prospects you are going to meet fall into the category of Type C. Be ready to use this after you're done reading. So I spent about 5 minutes doing a product demo. I probably asked a dumb upfront question like, do you want to buy it? I call it dumb because I remember being very nervous. My heart was beating from the fact that I really wanted the item to sell and felt like I was stumbling over my words. The dad turned to the son and asked him something that really almost gave me a heart attack. He gave his son a choice between buying the digital piano and getting some other cool item. Knowing that teenagers are going to pick the coolest thing over some other cool thing, I had to act fast or my opportunity was gone. I calmly and sincerely looked over at the son and said, "If you don't buy it now, you never will." To my surprise, the dad actually backed me up and said, "You know what? He's right. If we leave, you're never coming back." The son realized the cold hard facts presented to him. They bought it right away. As for myself, I am a Type B, gray personality. When I decide something, whether it be the kind of coffee I want or which clothes to buy, I'm usually never 100% certain until the very last second when it is awkward for someone else. Maybe it is passive aggression at play? No matter what though, I usually decide because I am testing someone or even myself. I like to observe what another individual is going to present to me, and then more often than not, I'll choose just the opposite of what they suggest. However, normally it's to see just how different they are. One of the worst things you can tell anyone is, "How may I help you?" It all comes down to the fact that saying it spells this out in your prospect's mind. Wow. This guy is a robot. He is an employee that doesn't like his job, and he is doing exactly what he is told. I really doubt he even cares if I buy. Do you want to know why this is the most psychologically horrible thing you can tell anyone? Because it is exactly what the low-paid non-commissioned employee says to you at a thrift store, and what you hear every single time you go through a drive-through window. Whenever you finish your order, if it is even computed correct. You get the feeling that the person behind the microphone doesn't give a rat's ass about your purchase. And yes, they'd probably prefer to pet their pet rodent's tail when they get home than talk to you. Please, if you care about selling, never ever again use this phrase. How may I help you? Remove it from your vocabulary now. Role play. To be honest with you, I really hate role play. It is highly embarrassing for me to do and makes me feel insincere. What I mean is that I feel like pretending with someone else means that I am pretending with the customer once I am actually talking with them from a rehearsed script. However, at this time I want to share with you what I learned from one of the top Roland digital piano representatives. He was a traveling concert artist for them, and also had a background as a successful car salesman. He did some role-play scenarios with me. One of the most important parts of his presentation was when he revealed a very common mistake salespeople can and do make. It takes place at the point when we present to the customers our opportunity to buy. The reason sales reps kill deals all the time is because of being nervous. There is a highly suspenseful moment when the emotional side of the brain begins to paint the most horrible picture about what the client is going to say after being asked to buy. There is a way to actually take advantage of the pessimism. The same awkward feeling you will get during role play is what you will feel when you ask for the sale. Let's say you ask them, "Is this piano the one you want?" What unsuccessful reps do is follow up their question, immediately following with another question or statement ever before the client has an opportunity to respond. Instead, wait for about 10 seconds. Yes, let your heart beat and arms get sweaty. If they don't say anything or seem unsure, ask them the question again. You are exhibiting a relaxed smile, not too happy, in an unassuming manner. Alternatively, a very calm serious look without a care in the world will do. After the second 10 seconds they will respond in some way because they are on the spot. The rewarding part about this is that you have given them a very sincere opportunity to express their opinion. This helps them feel comfortable with you and at least they'll respect you even if they say no. Their no won't be a rejection of you. Eliminates your fear of rejection. It will actually be an acceptance of you. Make sense? What they are rejecting is the opportunity to buy. Now is your chance to add value so they say yes. The value can be as simple as offering a payment option they didn't know is available. Waiting a long time for your supposed client to respond is key because it is the only way you can discover if they are a suspect or a prospect. Notice that I distinguished between the two. Suspect. You are not sure if they have the intention to buy. Prospect. You know for certain they intend to buy but don't know if they have the means or any other details necessary to close the deal with you. Client. You know when, where, who, what, why, and how, who they are buying for, why they are buying, where the product or service is being delivered, what kind of item, the specifics, when they intend to buy, info check, credit, money order, cash, payment plan, etc. Suspects can be converted to prospects but prospects can actually be, to your misfortune, converted back to suspects, if you do not establish the answers to the 6 questions above. Yet I believe contrary to what most are taught that the 6 questions should be handled organically, only after the first 4 tests are being overcome. What I am implying is that all those questions will subconsciously annoy your potential buyer if they haven't first discovered your sincerity, persuasion power, ethics, and relevance to their needs. There is exception to that principle. You can actually inspire them to voluntarily tell you all those things with an amazing icebreaker you do in the 180 pass-by stage at the beginning. This can be a very light-hearted joke making fun of the whole situation you are both in. For instance, they meet you for the first time and you say, "Welcome. I just wanted to thank you in advance for buying all the pianos in the store. We have a very special discount just for you." They'll probably laugh. Also, this lets them know you understand it is awkward for them to approach a sales rep, and helps diffuse any tension. You could even add, "But I'm going to be very upfront with you. Shipping is going to take about 1 year." After the 180 pass by you will likely discover which personality type they are immediately. Being very comfortable with you will cause most people to volunteer all the info you need to know to close the deal. Keep in mind that all of these phrase ideas are templates you can use to adapt to your own product or service. You read earlier how I creatively added the concept of client as a further evolution from prospect. During the client phase, you provide an opportunity for purchase. And if they provide the answers to your 6 questions, they can be answered without you actually asking, then you know that person is not ready to buy. You cannot consider them a prospect yet. In other words, you have more work to do. I want to add that even if your potential doesn't buy from you, they may actually end up to be your client in the future, by sending you referrals as a result of liking you. So no sale happening isn't necessarily terrible. An example of this is when I invited the local piano teacher association to come and test the new products that I put on the floor of a new lesson academy I started. I had hoped that some of them would buy from me, none did, but a very solid group came in and gave me feedback. Some of them disliked certain models and some liked others, despite being loyal to other brands being sold by competitor stores. But giving them the opportunity to voice their opinion helped build trust and was unconditional. One of the teachers even sent 2 students to buy from me within the next 2 weeks. Essential review. When asking for the sale, shut up for 10 seconds. If they are indecisive, ask again and shut up again. Note: if on the phone, I recommend keeping the pause to about 5 to 7 seconds because facial expressions and body language are not as easily discerned. If you are reading this and training a sales team, I highly recommend you only role-play the time of deal closure. It is really the only thing that matters in the end, and you want to make optimal use of their time so that the most important things are learned and retained. Everything else they can read, remember, and practice in their own sweet time. The 180-degree pass-by. If you are passing along my writing to your sales team, let them know that this introduction section not only covers deal closure, but also how not to break the ice with the client. The 180-degree pass-by helps us with this. It is usually any action or conversation completely unrelated to the product or service you're selling. The cheesiest icebreakers are, "How is the weather?" or "Your dress looks very nice today." Saying typical things people are used to hearing is the best way to get them to go directly to your competition. It is also one of the first steps of failing to pass the 5 tests every person you come in contact with will give you automatically. These tests are what potentially could form the diamond within you. There is a word invented by my friend Jason Napier, based from my diamond concept, called diamondology, meaning study of the diamond. One of the meanings of diamond is invincible. The 5 kinds of testing that your suspects and prospects will put you through are what will make or break the sale. Anticipating them will put you in the position of invincibility. If you are able to spontaneously study at which phase you are in during your interaction, you'll be able to auto-correct the flow of conversational energy, and you'll immediately be able to filter out whether talking to someone is worth your time, or even theirs. In order to recapitulate, the 180-degree pass-by will only work if you are sincere. Sincerity is the first part of the diamond you become when you pass the 5 tests. Whether you are lying your ass off or telling the truth, the only thing that matters, when someone else is deciding to buy from you, is sincerity. Even if all the information you are giving is totally fact, insincerity will ruin your chances of making the sale. Don't believe me? When was the last time you made a sale without conveying you actually want the client to know about your product or service? I have killed so many deals because my mindset and emotional state weren't calibrated toward having the customer in mind first. In my heart I may have known I wanted them to buy, but no one cares about what is in your heart. They care about the picture you paint for them right then and there. When you break the ice, first impressions count. The 180-degree pass-by is when you and the suspect pass by each other without any guard up by either party. It is you letting them know that you're comfortable with them, and therefore, creates a win-win for everyone from the start. If you are not comfortable with someone else, they will sense it. By projecting your own relaxed state upon them, they are more likely to project that back to you. This mirrored approach empowers you with confidence, and that assurance enables the second diamond point revealed next in the diamondology chapter. But before I introduce the full diamond to you, let's examine the length of time to give a pitch. Sales pitch time. As I alluded to before, my manager at Piano City was not the best salesman in the chain. He learned from someone else who gave him pretty good advice. Nevertheless, The coaching I received from the company owner Mr. H was unforgettable and transcended what my supervisor told me. To make a long story short, I participated in a university piano sale at UTEP University of Texas at El Paso for 2 years in a row. Our chain provided practice pianos for an entire year, and the contract with the school permitted us to send a letter to 30,000 of their alumni, announcing the sale of those pianos. The intense energy going into the preparation and anticipation for the 3-day event was quite thrilling. We averaged about 30 sales, many of which were expensive grand pianos. Mr. H had critiqued me the first year because I took way too long talking to the clients. Basically, he talked to a couple for about 5 minutes about one of the Baldwin grand pianos and then came over to me. He said, "It's not that hard to sell. See? It only took 5 minutes." He just didn't beat around the bush. The first year I barely snuck in one sale. Next go round, on the second day, I was the top seller, which meant my 2 years of experience had won out over those who'd been selling for over 5 years. I was starting to learn less talk and more deal closure. Although it was good original advice my manager gave me concerning never going over 15 minutes. My observation is that the best sales happen in about 5 minutes or less of conversation. In other words, get to the point. This also applies to any online automated sales pitch. The exception would be testimonial or product demonstration videos. But the actual pitch leading to a call to action must be very short, or else whoever is listening will not deem you sincere. Overselling is very dangerous to credibility and it even suggests desperation. Thank you for listening to Ryan David Dwyer's audio version preview of his ebook, How to Sell Anything. Purchase the book at www.sellingsolveseverything.com.